Hey y'all, welcome back to another video. Getting towards the end of August here and just taking a little walk around the farm, showing you around what's going on at Wild East. Please make sure to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And let's get right into it. I'll show you around. Fall brassica beds are coming online. We've planted this over the course of the first 2 weeks of August, and always amazing to see the difference in speed between the spring and the fall brassicas. These were planted just 3 weeks ago, and we're already going to be picking off of them a little bit this week. The kales a bit, and should carry us beautifully through till it gets too cold in December or so. Now in this kale, there's some cover crop trialing in our no-till context. Some of these beds had cover crop, others didn't, and we handled it in different ways. As you can see here, this was teff grass. It's a common source of feed for horses and sheep and goats. But teff is very fast growing and grows very densely and does well, so we grew that up, interplanting every other bed of summer squash. So we would have summer squash here, teff, and then more squash to give us room to harvest, and it seemed to help prevent disease transmission from leaves touching one another. So in this bed we crimped and tarped the teff and planted right into that. Over here we had a bed with teff and millet, which the millet grows very similarly but even bigger, more biomass, and in this case we treated it the same but then buried the organic material in compost and planted into that. So between weed pressure, fertility, ease of management, we're experimenting with summer cover crops and how that affects the plants and the ease of work, but so far it's going quite well. Quick caterpillar tunnel walk through. Tomatoes are starting to wane, and that's okay. They've paid their way really well this summer. Very happy with the tomatoes. We're starting to plant lettuce amongst the sides of the beds. Cherries, some already getting pulled out and planted with fall crops, but we anticipate we'll take the tomatoes out around 1st of September to make way for greens and ideally crops that we'll keep picking off of into the winter, and that if things go to plan will overwinter and we'll be getting some early spring harvests off of as well. Walk through the ginger jungle. We've got 3 beds planted to ginger in here. It's about chest or chin high or so, and 1 bed planted to turmeric. We've just started picking off of it in the last couple weeks, and ginger is a very good crop for us. We've learned how to grow it really nicely, getting the timing right, and it's extremely popular both at farmers markets and in wholesale contexts. A lot of different types of businesses want to work with us, whether that's retail cases in farm stores or We've been talking to honey producers and local juice companies. Ginger is a hot ticket item, and we love growing it, and it seems to love growing for us as well. This was our cucumber tunnel for early part of the summer, and then we followed that up with sun hemp cover crop for several weeks. Again, these summer cover crops can put on massive amounts of biomass in a short amount of time. So we recently just crimped down and covered in an initial layer of compost. And we've gotten so much rain this month. In August alone, we've gotten close to 15 inches. And that's why, as I'm walking around, maybe you've already noticed, but certainly in here, there's a lot of water. And we've been spending the last several weeks making more established raised beds, bringing material out of the paths, and putting more material onto the beds to facilitate better drainage, and over time just digging somewhat temporary trenches so we can really watch how water moves as the farm landscape and the garden landscape is really established, so that we can be informed for more permanent decisions around good water flow in heavy events. On August 1st, we got about 7 inches over the course of that weekend, and it's something we've grown to be used to around here. Heavy deluges that can take quite some time to fully drain off the landscape, learning how to capture it, learning how to move it so that our production areas aren't negatively impacted. A little peek into the prop space. We've got choys and lettuces, a bit of spinach. It's been fun watching this bed transform. We let it get a bit chaotic on purpose, but these little chestnut seedlings, I planted the seeds back in March or April or so, have grown quite a bit to fill out some spaces in nut field. Planted some aromatics like dill and little bits of spring onion for us to pick off of. In this stretch we had pawpaws that we planted up into pots, as you can see right there. So learning the ropes of propagation with the tools and materials we have made available, and so far very happy with what we're seeing. Pawpaws and chestnuts, who can beat that? We've had a nice long summer break, no poultry on the farm, and it's welcome for everyone involved. Too hot for the chickens, and quite frankly too hot for us to be doing those daily moves and processing every third week. However, end of this month, next Wednesday, we're getting the first batch of fall chickens arriving, so we'll get just over 500 broilers and one more batch after that before it's the end of the season on them. It's a nice rhythm this year. We had a big push producing more this spring than we've ever produced in that amount of time, and that enabled us to take this summer break and have a bit more restful of an autumn when it comes to poultry. Holiday turkeys in the brooder, just over 3 weeks old. Curious fellas that seem to like to rest around this time of day. Always excited about turkeys, one of my favorite critters to raise. As I predicted when we first came here and set up the farm, year 3 has been a transformational year for the perennials. Walking towards our locust plantation for coppice firewood, pole wood, fence wood, and I just marvel at these plants. These were 6-inch pencil-sized whips that we actually planted the second year, so just 16 months ago or so, last spring, and these trees are towering now. You can see they do well at dense spacing, and We're looking at 15, 20, some almost 30 feet tall. And it's beautiful to see. They say the best time to plant a tree is 10 years ago, and the second best time is right now. And feeling the fruits of having planted. Part of our aim here is to not only produce enough food, fiber, medicine for ourselves and the community, but also to be engaged in diverse enough activities in the areas of agriculture we're interested in to be able to act as something of a demonstration site, so that as we move more and more into education in the future, we have living examples of so many types of systems: nut savannas, perennial agroforestry with animal integration, coppice agroforestry, converting abandoned woodland into silvopasture, market gardens, the whole picture of whole farm integration, the business side of it, the ecology of it, and demonstrating what's possible on a small farm with a small team of folks who are just passionate, dedicated, and witty about what they're doing. So exciting to watch in year 3 as the landscape is transitioning from its infancy into, I'll call it, something of a juvenile phase. Quick walk through Northfield. Trees have put on a lot of growth both this spring and showing significant summer growth. We're seeing a bit of stress from how wet it's been, but we've seen that in the past and every one seems to rebound pretty well. We had the sheep move through Northfield this summer, grazing amongst the tree lanes and getting ready in just over 3 weeks to reintroduce poultry into this beautiful silvopasture that's developing here. That's it, just a brief farm walkabout. We're enjoying the cooler days after a brutally hot July, and really can't say enough about intentionally planning in something of a summer break in the season. It's a benefit we have in our climate where we can push spring, we can push autumn, make those our main production seasons, and allow us to take a bit more rest in the summer and in the winter rather. There's no feeling as a farmer like going into September with a lot of energy and feeling revitalized from some downtime. So something we plan for and something we're grateful that we do. Happy to talk with anyone about how we make that happen, because I think it can be really critical to avoid that summer burnout a lot of folks experience. Please check out Small Scale Revival's new website. We are taking on more and more consulting clients and would love to hear about different folks' projects and see if we can tune in to help in any way. So follow the link in the description, check it out, and reach out if you'd like. Thanks for watching another video, and we'll see you next time.